Good evening, you beautiful people. Welcome to TCB Studios and welcome to Burn It Down. We'd like to thank our sponsor, A&F Agriculture. Give a special shout out to Sandy D. I'd like to give a special birthday shout out to Kelly Hester of Kelly's Death Pickles. Happy birthday, my brother. Hope you had a wonderful day. Hope you're having a wonderful evening. And hope to see you soon. We'll celebrate. Our guest this evening, I'm a big fan of. Wonderful human, wonderful painter, wonderful singer. I was joking around saying, I bet you he's a good dancer because he seems to be good at everything. I love hearing him tell stories and paint and just talk to the audience. He's got this wonderful, just soothing voice. Second time on the program, super excited to have him because I want to burn it down. One of the busiest men in the business, the man of 1,000 voices. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rory Pendland.
I'm a lousy dancer.
Oh my goodness, I refuse to believe that. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Tired, but good.
Yeah, same here. And we got started a few minutes late, but that's what happens on live television. Thank you all for your patience.
We're an hour early.
Thank you, Rory. Thank you, Renee, behind the scenes. And I do need to say that a couple of things. Shout out to my brothers, Daniel Gay, Tony Carollo, and Lars Nagel, who just did some songs on BLT and Come On to My House. We're going to be taking a break from doing BLT for a while because a lot of folks have things going on these days. And I know you and I, we talk behind the scenes, backstage sometimes, and life just keeps going. And sometimes it can be brutal. I know the community that I come from had several losses the past few days. And I just want to give a shout out to the Atlanta community, say much love and respect. And also, when people are going through hard times, please reach out and talk to the people that you know and love. And also, we need to continue keeping in touch and reaching out to people that we love who we haven't seen in a while. It's our job. It's our duty. We're better than that. We're better than everything else. We need to look after each other. We're all in this together in every kind of weather. I say that and I mean it. And man, I'm sorry for starting the show off on such a heavy note, but I've been thinking about it all day. So thank you for letting me say that, Rory.
I'm just sorry to hear that. Yeah, there are people in your community that you lost this past week.
Yeah, and it's bad enough when it's one, but then all of a sudden it's like you're just reeling and getting over one, and then you hear about another, and it's just heartbreaking, and just sending so much love out to our dear friends and brothers and sisters, and telling everyone we love you. I love you, Renee loves you, and Rory loves you.
And that's the best way to perk the show back up is to bring Renee on.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Because everything I've done with Cosmos, she's pretty much had her hand in somewhere. So
and
it's apropos for her to be here. Last show that we did 8 months ago, it was her birthday, and it was around her birthday, and we brought her out. So
and I love that.
I would like to keep I would like to keep doing that.
Me too. And I also love that these shows that we're doing, and we're going to get into it with you because you really are. I'd say next to James Brown, man, and he's no longer with us, but you're the busiest. You're the busiest man in show. You're the busiest man in show business. Yes. I love the man of 1,000 voices. I told you, I lay down when it's time to go to sleep at night, and there's nothing but a compliment in there. And I watch you paint and hear you talk, and the next thing you know, I'm sawing logs.
Well, it's nice to know I put people to sleep.
You've also kept
uh,
me up and I'm dancing, so you're doing Beatles and Frank Sinatra songs. So, appreciate all that.
that show has actually gone through a metamorphosis. I mean, it just started out as me painting, um,
Yes.
and I had Sandy D start to direct it, and we decided to
Shout out
do
Sandy D.
trivia. And
Yeah.
of course, we've been inviting guests on, usually female guests from Cosmos, so we call them Rory's Angels.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Yes, Jamie Bennett. You've had so many great shows, and so it's so funny because you really are. You were just on doing a show with Pan just literally a few minutes ago. So thank you for pulling this double header this evening. And I had Pan on as my guest a few weeks ago,
Right.
and she's absolutely wonderful and slaying it in the game. I love
Yeah.
everything she's doing. Well, that's the thing. It's like.
Well, she's doing what we're all doing. She's leaving her legacy here. I mean,
Totally.
we might have 300 people watching the shows now, but who knows who will be watching these shows 100 years from now?
That's right.
They're going to be, around. They're going to be on YouTube. Isn't going anywhere. I
No,
mean,
no.
it'll just progress and again evolve, and we'll be there. I'm sure. I mean, it's a time capsule.
I love it. Yeah, we really are, and we talked about that. That we're making in many ways the rules up as we go, and it's pretty simple. We want it to be informative, entertaining, provide this this lovely atmosphere, a positive atmosphere, and basically just give people a good time.
Didn't we invite Renee out here?
She'll be on. She'll be on in a minute. By the way,
Okay.
but well, listen, she can do whatever she wants, but I promise that she'll be on before the end of this show.
All
Um,
right.
so yeah, tell me what you got going on lately, because I know
Well,
this brain of yours is constantly changing, and you're coming up with new ideas, new shows, new characters for sure. I love the stuff you're doing with your characters, and I
we
know tomorrow in traffic you might come up with a new character.
yeah, I mean, I started in Cosmos, or actually I started with Tardan Media,
Right,
hoping to do the characters, my stage characters, on Tardan Media, and in his show, Tardan Tonight Not Quite. And that's where it started. And then it kind of evolved again. That seems to be the word of the night. Things are changing, and then we got Cosmos, and they gave me It's Casual, and I started doing the characters as videos on that show.
right.
And now I'm doing the characters on Pan shows on another channel. I'm doing them on Drita, No Icing, with
Yeah.
Sandy D. So that's been a good showcase for those the characters. Since my last appearance on this show, yeah, I attacked TikTok. I finally got around to getting on TikTok, and uh, became the man of 1,000 voices there,
Right.
and set a record where I did 847 voices in an hour.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah,
Um,
and I'm not really familiar with TikTok, but I've gone to check out some of your videos on it, and I've seen a few others, and it
well,
just
everything that I put there, I've created the Man of 1,000 Voices room here too on Facebook.
yeah,
Everything I put there, I throw into that room here, and that's where you
right,
see all the impressions.
and it seems
Uh,
like you have a whole other audience, and you've gotten a lot of views there.
TikTok has been slow and steadily, yeah, rising. I mean, I've got about almost 800 followers,
Hmm.
almost 8,000 likes.
That's great.
Um, that's been going a lot slower than I've expected. Renee's actually slaying it on TikTok.
I
She does a
see.
lot of videos every day there, and they're all positive affirmation, which is what everybody wants or
Well,
needs
listen,
right
I mean,
now.
listen, tell me something I don't know. Renee slays it in everything she does.
Yeah.
Right now might be a good time for her to come on. Ladies and gentlemen, where is she? Renee Yaworski.
Well, thank
What?
you.
She's
Thank
got a
you.
huge following.
Yes.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that, but I do know that Rory is like multi-talented, and everything he does touches, turns to gold. Just like you, Tom. You guys are both
Oh my
very
goodness.
popular men about town. Everybody loves you both. So I'm just
Man
very
about
honored
town.
to very honored to be here. And I'm going to turn my camera on in like 1 second.
Listen,
Okay.
I know what you're
Good.
doing because right now you are ironing someone's pants for tomorrow morning. You're tying some little kid shoes and you're putting on a cool a hair hat. I get you
Yeah, it's
because
possible.
That's it.
because you know how to multitask better than any of us.
Thank you.
What?
There
There
she
she
is.
is. Hey, lady, how are you? Thank you for everything you do.
Yes.
Such a big fan of yours, and it only makes sense when Rory's on for you to come on. And we had Gregory Elgan on last week, and shout out to Gregory. What a sweet,
Love you,
beautiful, talented
Gregory.
man as well, and such a big fan of Gregory's. And I was like, Greg's coming on. Let's have fun with the show. I love that it keeps changing, and little by little, we're gonna, we might have Rory come on us, with one of his characters next month. Who knows? That's the idea. It's television. It changes. I work in television behind the scenes, and when things happen and we get stressed, like malfunctions happening, and one of my partners, told me this a long time ago. He goes, it's not heart surgery. No one's going to die. So who cares if we go on a few minutes late? Who cares if someone's hat's on backwards? Everyone,
Exactly.
it's part of the fun of it. It's live and we're all smiling and PMA, positive mental attitude, and we're all beautiful and we're telling our viewers we love them. And that's the best.
It's so true too, because one of the reasons why people tune into live television, and of course we don't have to go live, we could pre-record this. One of the reasons why
Mhm.
I, as a fan, love live television is I'm always kind of hoping that there'll be an imperfection, just some slight
Right.
imperfection, because it makes it feel more real.
Right. Like one time Renee and I were talking
Waiting
and
for the train wreck.
it's like one time Renee and I were talking, and my left arm almost went on fire, and
You
and
literally almost burned it down,
yeah,
Nice.
unburn it
and,
down.
and there's been several episodes where I've been talking, and literally the house cat has walked right by the camera, and you might just see a shadow, and you'd be like, and I'm such a sweet man. I love animals. I'm gonna let her have a good time, but you just see like, what's that thing just passed by? Was I seeing something? Well, it was the TCB house cat.
As they do. My house cat sat on my slipper and basically left a poop spot on my slipper.
All right, all
And
right. See, listen, this show is PG. That's TMD. That's too much data, Rory. That's TMI. Too much
That's
information.
gonna shut us
to add
down.
insult to injury, he gave me one of those over the look, looks like, yeah, I did it.
Yeah, yeah. He's like smoking a cigarette. He goes, "You want a piece of me? I'll take you downtown, buddy."
Naughty little kitty.
So yeah, I love the characters, and I love watching the way you and Renee work off of each other when you're talking about monster movies and horror movies, and you guys have such a brilliant comedic timing slash rapport with each other, and I'm guessing that you might loosely say we're going to talk about this, and I have like me, I have notes around of things I want to mention, but the rest is I guess just improvised, and it's just that you both have a good knack for it.
Yeah, when we started doing it from the right out of the gate, yeah, the chemistry between Howitzer and Hazard was gold, and really enjoy doing that with Renee because I just love setting her up. I love when I make her laugh and she puts her hands in front of her face to
Right,
cover the laugh, and
right. And
that makes my night.
you set her up, you set him up, and she knocks him down, and vice versa too.
And we got the whole shtick with the cups and the tea and
I love it.
the noises that we make, etc. So yeah, we've got a thing going on, as they say in songs.
Well,
Uh,
it really works though. I mean, from day one. But the cool thing is like anything you do, if you're a jazz player and you're in a band, you get to know already. Well, I'm not a jazz player. I love jazz, but I write music with a lot of people that I just got back from playing a show in Gainesville, Florida Saturday night, and it was amazing. And I'm playing with some of my best friends that I've been on stage with for 30 years, on stage and off stage doing stuff. But you get this thing, and what is it? It's that you understand each other. We like to say, you know each other so well you finish each other's sandwiches. I mean sentences. You know what I'm saying? And
Well,
but you work off each other.
we did double duty on that show for several months because I wanted to collect as many shows as we had of It's Casual, which we're at 70 shows on each one now.
Right. And It's Casual is back, and
It's Casual is back now.
that show is phenomenal because that's you putting on, your more just serious conversation of it, and it is casual and there's laughter, but you're very much putting on like your journalist hat, but sideways.
Renee and I have a good time interviewing people. We always have a fun time on the show, and because of that, we've been able to get some pretty special people on the show.
Right. We really are. We're so lucky. I think I mentioned it on the show, and I don't know who I mentioned it to. I believe I sent it to Renee. But Peter Gabriel, when he won his acceptance speech to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he says a bunch of wonderful things, in his acceptance speech. But a lot of it's just saying, surround yourself with good people, with goodness, and surround yourself with brilliance, and wonderful things can happen. And I think I kind of feel the way about all of you and the people that we're working with and associate with at CCTV.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll say, like, one of the reasons why Rory and I work so well together is he's a total pro and he's a team player. Not
Yes,
everybody is. In the early days, I mean, Rory will tell you, I just kind of put myself out of it. And he would always say, come on screen, do more, do more. And I
right.
was like,
Yes,
no,
I'm
it's
still doing that.
he's
It's
still
like,
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
that. And
yeah.
I'm like,
Renee, come on.
he's like,
Listen,
come
you.
on. If I'm not contributing as much, like he gets irritated. He's like, Renee, like what's come on? And
He's
so
a
he wants that. He actually tries to evoke
he's a
that out of
big
no
fan.
spur of on.
The show is not just about me. It's you too. So yeah, we always like to have you out there. And again, the guests always love you to death. And
Right.
who doesn't?
Right,
And
he's a big fan. He's a big fan of yours, as am I, and he's also a big fan of the alley oop. Like he throws it for you. He wants you to slam dunk it. And also, Miss Jaworski, you're kind of easy on the eyes. Much love and respect. People want to see you too. You got a great smile.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. You guys are very good and very healthy for my self-esteem. And I like to work with other people too. I mean,
well, and
that's
you
yes,
ask
Rory?
great questions too. I mean,
That's it.
some of the best questions we've had, since the beginning of It's Casual have come from you. Asking people things that it didn't dawn on me to ask them that.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, we have done some couple of shows, which I think we're overdue to do another one, Renee. Where sometimes we just we really we're like a jazz band. We're like riffing off each other, and we may have come to the table with some ideas of things we want to talk about. But the funny thing is we wind up, the things that we didn't talk about, later on, Renee will be like, that's exactly what I wanted to talk about. Or, we just, because it's in the air and you feel it and you kind of say, oh, wait a minute, this is an area where I think we need to talk about and also share with our viewers.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And the thing about Rory is he has that great timing. He's worked a lot with everybody. Not everybody's fun to work with because sometimes with artists it becomes like a competition where they're trying to
Right.
talk over you. They're trying to bullhead, get in the spotlight more and edge you out. Rory's one of the few performers I've met who actually he's trying to get more people involved and he knows how to sit back and create
Yeah.
that space with both a
You
guest and a co-host, which is really very pleasurable. And he's very he'll joke around about his ego, but the truth is that actually he's one of the more humble performers I've
right. You are okay. Now we're giving Rory his flowers. You're such a professional, Rory.
Well, again, if you're interviewing guests and they're talking, you let them talk,
That's right. That's
because
the
that's
show.
when the nuggets of gold come out. So I just found out today. We did a show on Howitzer on Big Monster Briefing Room. I should say. I shouldn't call it Howitzer. It's our show, not my show. Uh,
Right.
um,
You're so
I
sweet.
keep doing that, and I keep smacking myself for it.
You're so
But
sweet.
we did Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and
Yeah.
there were two guys in the film, the ice cream guys, Mike Siegel and Pete Lacassi. Well, I tried to get Mike Siegel. Pete Lacassi unfortunately took his life a couple of years ago. Oh, about a year ago.
Horrible.
And Mike is in England now.
Mhm.
And I sent him a copy of that show, which, we talked about them a lot during that show.
Yeah.
And I got a message from him today saying that was a great little,
Very cool.
tribute to Pete. He goes, it culminated into him saying he's going to come on It's Casual in a couple.
Yeah, I mean, you have to
So-
do it probably a special like two. By the way, thank you guys for working with me, going on early tonight, and thank you for our viewers and whoever can't watch it. Hope you watch the replay later. Just have some personal things that I have to do, so that this worked out great. But yeah, I guess so. Like a show like that, you'd have to do maybe 3 o'clock your time, so it was 9 o'clock his, because he'd be 6 hours ahead of you or something.
Luckily, yeah, it won't be that bad. It's 5 hours difference, so it'll be 11 p.m. at night for him when he does the show, and that's okay. That's good. So
We talked. Well, what I was going to say
April.
earlier. What I was going to say earlier is, you know what the most important part of comedy is? Timing.
There you go. Timing.
Oh, no. You know what the most important comedy? You know what the most important part of comedy is? Timing. Yeah, I love. You got to say that joke both ways. The first time you take a sip of a drink, and like 10 minutes later, you go, "Oh yeah, it's timing." And then the next one, you just say it immediately back.
right out of the gate. So
Yeah, an old man at the studio I was working today was running one of the elevators, and I said, I go, how do you like doing this? He goes, he's the elevator operator. He goes, it has its ups and downs.
that's what we all have.
Totally.
I love
I'm
that.
very excited about what we're doing now and what we may be doing in the future. One other thing is with Howitzer, it's kind of evolved as well. We have a lot of guests that come on the show. You're coming on this Thursday.
I was going to say, bucket of fish, segue, segue. Thursday evening, I'll be talking about a little. Can we talk?
Rocky Horror Picture
Yes.
Show. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Oh my goodness, I'm super excited about that. I was listening to the soundtrack this weekend actually, and it's just so much fun and
Yeah.
so over the top, but
We all snuck out for that midnight movie, when we were in high school. And
definitely, yeah. I mean, I wish my parents were cool enough to take me to see it when I was a kid, but it was what you probably called risque back then. But we'll talk about it Thursday. Tune in Thursday.
And we've got characters and people that are coming on the show regularly now as guests, and that's actually spicing up the show a little more too.
Shout out to my brother Julio Morales, King Buffalo. He's been wonderful on your show.
He's an expert. He knows everything.
He's going to be back on again soon. We're going to be doing another zombie film soon. He's our zombie expert.
He's very informative. He really knows. He knows his stuff.
And
he's a genius. He's an absolute total genius. He knows everything. He can tell you right down to the detail. It's incredible when we have him. Everybody just learns so much all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's great. He was one of the first. Was he the first guest we had on Howitzer, Rory?
I believe he was. We did Night of the Living Dead, and I think he was the first guest that we had on the show. Alan Hops, who's a monster maker and knows everything about werewolves, and he likes Bigfoot as well. He likes anything hairy. He's always great to have on the show. He has a lot of information. He has a wealth of knowledge about these things and their histories and stuff. Barbie, who's now Dr. Barbie Van Helsing now.
she came out with that, yeah.
She's coming on for Vampire Films. And we have a new one that just started. My old sergeant in arms, Sergeant Major Havoc, who will be
Yes.
back on once a month regularly every 4 or 5 weeks. We'll have him do a giant animal attack movie like Tarantula or the
Insects.
Praying
Oh yeah.
Mantis, Black
Yeah.
Scorpion.
Giant
There's a
insects.
lot of those. So he'll
There's
be coming
never
back
gonna
regularly.
be there's never gonna be like a shortage of those movies, so that's
No,
that's so
no,
wonderful.
no. Again, I've already planned through season 4, and yeah, there's just so much of that out there.
And I got to put this in here too. Rory is a really hard worker. Like
Yeah,
they always say that hard work will outrun talent, and if you have hard work and talent, nobody can beat you.
that's true.
Rory has all that talent, but if he just sat on it, like there's a lot of people that are just hard to work with. They don't show up or whatever, or they're
Right.
just not consistent. Rory puts out for every hour that you see Rory on television, there's countless hours that week, like maybe even 20 hours a week sometimes that he
Certainly
puts.
with howitzers,
Oh my
certainly
goodness.
with the
Oh,
monster show.
All of them. He does his research. He comes totally prepared, no matter what. I mean, we've had him in a car rushing places, and then he'll be in costume too. Like I don't know if he has his costume. He's
yeah.
like Bugs Bunny. You know how Bugs Bunny would just open up like his
Right.
fur and he would have like a full costume. That's Rory. He has a full costume
I
anywhere on
mean,
his body.
I always think about like Rory's like in a meeting, and then next thing you know, he's going, he's got to go see like, his insurance company, and then like he's in the driveway, and this like business people walking around, and you see him putting on clown shoes and a hat, and he's like, "Hey guys," he's like, "How you guys doing today?" Yeah, because he gets it
That
done.
was me today. I was
He,
trying to get my car payment done,
he's
and there was a
CCB.
problem with that. And then I got home, and I immediately had to jump into Dr. Piranha. So
So
that's
good.
my life.
Yeah.
But those
Listen, you
timelines that I
TCB.
do.
You TCB, and my dad used to say to me when I was a boy, "Don't ever do anything half-assed. It takes twice as long to fix it."
Yeah.
And you get it done, my man. You go full on 100%, and cheers to that, and like so much respect because it pays off. And
Yeah.
the characters, they're good. They're interesting. There's depth to them. There's a story behind each one of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sugar. Uh, I have
Sugar.
that's a. I said to Rory, this. Let me just tell you this because this is how Rory is with everything. But for example, I'm a huge fan of sitcoms. I'm an EP on a sitcom right now as well. But I always consider sitcoms to be like the highest form of art. I just love how they create
Yeah,
a problem and solve a problem in 20 minutes. And I said offhandedly, like late at night, it was like 10:30 at night or some shit. I said to Rory over a text, I was like, wouldn't it be great if like we had a sitcom? And he was like, "Oh yeah." And then the next day or something, it was like he had written the pilot, and then two
A
days
couple of
later,
days
he
later.
had 4 episodes.
I
Which
know,
Tom, you're in it. Tom, you're in it.
I know, I know, and
And
I
they're
know
good. And they're
we
good
we we we
episodes.
tried to get on a couple times and do a read through, and I think the tech gremlins were not being kind to me that day, and I'm still so interested in well, just every project you do and work on, and I agree with Renee 100%. You bring it to the table, you do the work, you do the research, and it's always home runs, it's grand slams, and I've also feel very humbled and lucky to just even be on screen with both of you tremendous talents right now, so thank you for that.
Well,
Same
no,
here.
I appreciate being here, and I'm going to say one more thing, and then I'll shut up. But I want to say this about Rory too. Rory, he's a team. He's an interesting animal breed because of a performer because he's so inclusive and he is humble and he works so well with others, and yet he has a very clear artistic vision and path that he
Right.
tries not to deviate from. Like he knows who he is. He knows what his vision is. He can give direction. I've never met anyone who could do both of those things.
Right. That's such a good point.
Well,
And I'm a huge fan of vaudeville. I've definitely tipped my hat to a lot of that, even in my songs and performance and theater and theatrics and stuff. Um, Love that stuff. And but that 100% commitment that you make, Rory, is amazing because then I've also seen you turn on the dime and go into another character. Like when you do your performances, and like I said, you're doing a few Sinatra songs, and you're all blue eyes, but the next thing you know, you're rocking and rolling, and you're scatting, and you're doing these other things, and it's
He's a good singer.
basically we just want to give Rory his
Mr.
flowers.
Karaoke.
We want to make Rory blush this evening because he is
Yeah.
a genius that we feel so lucky to be part of his orbit, his world, and we need the rest of the world to really see it.
Yes.
I really feel kind of inadequate when I do like a Jay's Jam Fest because it's like, oh, it's all headliners, and I'm like, really? I'm a headliner. I'm
Hey,
Mr.
yeah,
Karaoke. Come on.
congratulations, my friend. The other night you
Congratulations.
were a headliner.
Yeah, you are.
I can't even play a ukulele. Damn it.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, listen,
So,
you're talking about Julio, how he's so good and knows so much. I always feel like I know just a little bit about everything, but just enough to like mess it up. Like it's like, what instruments you play? I play the radio. It's like, yeah, believe me, I know what you're saying. Well, please let me be a master of at least a couple of things. And Rory, you are a master at several things. In the theater and on stage, off stage. It's so impressive and just lovely to watch.
thank you. Thank you. Again, I'm working hard to try to find out ways for us to get more views on our videos on YouTube. I'm doing all kinds of experiments to see what works because again, these videos, they should, the subject matter is something you would expect to get thousands if not millions of hits on, and
Right.
they're not getting that. They're getting 50 hits, maybe
Right.
a couple hundred.
Right. I know.
So
I know.
I'm working on it. That's my next big thing, because
Listen,
like she says, I put a lot of time into those timelines. When I was doing 2 hours a week, it was killing me because each one of those timelines takes like 8 to 10 hours.
oh,
And
I know. Yeah. Well, I
and
don't know. I could imagine.
a few months ago, it was even longer than that. It was like double that because I found a way to streamline the process a little bit. So that's a
Right.
lot of work for
It's a
a
lot.
1 hour show.
But
Yeah,
but it is paying off,
it
and
does.
the
The
behind the
shows
scenes
are. I
stuff.
love watching
Yeah,
the shows
yeah.
in
I
retrospect.
I watch them and I go back and do replays and it's really awesome to see the you know like again like the characters build and grow like a great sitcom. Most great sitcoms, the first year or two, when you go back and watch them, you're like, they're not that good. It took 3 years to develop these characters, and then you're like, yes, now I get Kramer or whatever. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And it's like,
definitely.
Yeah, I go back and watch Mork and Mindy, and it just makes me cringe. It's like everybody loved this show back in the
yeah,
day.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like,
Well, some things don't age that well, but the other thing is like
yeah,
we're putting in the time, we're putting in the work. You know, Kevin Costner, Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come, man.
That's
Come on,
what
baby.
yeah.
happened. Yeah,
You
that's
know,
what happened.
we're doing it, man. This isn't Waterworld. This is Field of Dreams, man.
This really is. One of the
Water World.
movies, one of the training films that we
Jeffrey
did.
Butcher loves to make jokes and just say that that's the best worst movie of all time.
It
And
really
like
is.
and Jeffrey Butcher is such a good film buff. He's been working in movies since he's like 7 years old, like being a
Yeah.
projectionist and stuff. And but then someone asked him, this like serious question about like his favorite movie, and you think he's gonna say maybe Harold and Maude, and he'd be like, "Oh man, hands down, Waterworld, baby, I love it."
I was actually a projectionist when that came out. I was in the 80s. I was a
Yeah,
projectionist in a movie theater and an usher at the
yeah,
movie
yeah.
theater.
Well,
It was
I never worked in a movie theater, and I now I wish I did because that sounds like such a fun job.
it had its perks. Again, you could watch your favorite scenes in a movie. If you knew what time they were coming in the movie, you could go to the theater where it was
Yeah, yeah,
when it was
yeah,
playing
yeah.
and go, oh
And,
yeah, there he is. There it
yeah,
is.
and popcorn and juju beats. It just
That was one of my
spend a lot of
first
money
jobs.
at the dentist. That's
Yeah.
so cool, man. My first job was working as at an upholstery shop on Atlantic Avenue in Queens, New York, and I think the legal age to work then was maybe 15. I was like 13, and they paid me just a couple of bucks an hour. But they gave me these very interesting pliers to pull basically the material off the couches and the sofas and stuff, so they could reupholster them. And my job title was I was a stripper. So because I used to strip furniture. I went home. I was 13 years old. I go, Mom, I got a job. I'm a stripper. She's like, What are you talking about?
I actually worked in the food industry first when I was a
Mhm.
teenager. I was a bus boy, and then I worked my way up to a prep cook, and
Yeah.
then I'm sorry, dishwasher, then prep cook, then fry cook,
Yeah.
um, and I even did a couple weeks as a bartender when I was 17.
You could learn a lot, man.
I could make drinks, I just couldn't drink them. I couldn't put them to
Yeah,
my lips.
you could learn a lot. I think one of Bourdain's best quotes were, "If you want to save money on going to college, spend a year as a short order cook, spend a night in jail, and spend at least one night in jail, spend a year as a short order cook, and that's your college. You'll learn enough about the world."
Renee, how about you?
What about you, Renee?
What was your first job? Uh-oh.
I was on mute. My first job was when I was 15. They hired me at a law office because I knew I wanted to be a lawyer, and they
Yeah,
allowed me to be a law secretary, and I got to learn
amazing.
how to be a legal secretary. And I was in a punk band, so I would
What?
go to the law office thing. I would go to like band practice, and then I started college at 15 as well. I was doing like a thing, so I was going to college, and then but I still had to do PE class at my high school. They had some kind of a weird rule, so I was doing like PE
See?
class at high school, the punk band, and then the law thing, and then I was an equestrian. So then I would go and like compete with the horses when I was
Uh,
15, and then I started
okay,
dancing
so
at
Renee,
Ethel.
With a stalagmite head.
so
Yes,
Renee,
I
yes, I
did.
forgot to mention, yeah, Renee's also a genius. You were wearing a lot of hats at 15 years old.
Yeah, I love doing that stuff. And I wanted to say this about Rory. One of the training films that we did, speaking of a genius or like a multifaceted person, one of the training films we got to do on Howitzer was Rory's film. I mean, Rory is a
Yes,
writer.
yeah, that was a great.
He
We need
writes
to pull that
novels, he
episode
writes
back.
books.
Yeah.
I couldn't get a guest for that show. I knew everybody that was in that film, and I couldn't get a guest on that show.
Oh my goodness.
That was
Yeah.
heartbreaking.
It was a
We need
good
to bring
film.
that
I
back
liked
up.
it.
We need to bring that up back up. That was really good.
Yeah, it's hard to get a film made. It's so hard. Like Rory's kind of knows everyone. He's worked with everyone, and he kind of can do everything. He's a one-man band. Actually, he doesn't really need a team. That's why I'm always interested that he's a team player, because he doesn't really need one. He can write something, produce something, act in the thing. He could do everything. It's really incredible.
But who
And
wants to do all that?
yeah,
Well, yeah.
not as fun to do it by
There's,
yourself.
no matter what, there's still only the same amount of hours in a day and days in a week. That's the problem.
That's how they
Yeah.
did it on Monty Python, though. So,
That's true.
I
that's
love
how
that.
Ed Wood did it.
Yeah, totally. That's why they had like broomsticks with horse heads, and
Yeah.
they'd be running around, and then you'd see people with wood blocks going like this.
With coconuts.
Coconut.
Coconuts.
Yeah, exactly. So it sounded like horses.
I love it. Yeah.
We are
Everything that
probably
we-
the only monster show that ever did an episode for Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
That's amazing. I love it. I love that movie. I every once in a while, I'd say like every other year, like, my dad and I have these wonderful traditions. Like on Christmas, we'll watch all of the Bourne Identity movies together, me and my dad. But like seems like every other like Thanksgiving or something, we'll go deep and watch like all of Faulty Towers.
Oh,
John Cleese, and
Yeah.
it's like, and that stuff never is not fun. It's funny. It's like it actually. You tell them the Mork and Mindy, some of these shows don't age well. That show is aged well, and it's so fun.
yes. Basil and the Rat and Basil and the
Yeah.
Germans still is hysterically funny today.
It
Yes.
is so funny, man. I love it. So what else we got going on, Renee? Whenever time we have Renee on, she gives us these little crumbs, these little beautiful cucumbers, aunts and uncles of snippets of future stuff that's happening in CCTV. You got anything you
Well,
can share with us?
I do want to say, Rory, I'm going to let you. Rory has something to say about it. Before I forget, Orchid Times just booked an A-list guest, which is Jax. She was from American Idol, but she has one of the top 40 hits out right now called Victoria's Secret.
Oh, congratulations! Love
wow.
Orchid
And so
Times.
Orchid
That
Times
is
just
huge.
booked that, and they're going to interview her. I mean, they are getting A-list amazing
Kicking
guests.
butt and taking names.
They are
Yeah,
so
that's
wonderful. I
what
love watching them and seeing them kill it, and they're just such great. They're just killing it.
Incredible. But Rory, I cut you off. You were going to say something. What did you want to
What I
say?
was going to say was not important compared to that.
Nothing's important compared to Urban Times, but
I
yeah,
just
no.
wanted to say that I'm very happy to report that we went overtime. We
Yeah.
did 38 minutes the show 8 months ago, and we're at 41 minutes now. So I'm
Oh,
very
we're
happy.
You
killing.
did
Yeah,
it.
I'm
I
You
love
did
it.
glowing.
it.
I love it too. And again, thank you guys for working with me on this. Sometimes we have these things in life that we have to take care of, and by the way, no complaints there. Do it because well, we got to do it. We got a TCB in the business that we do, and we got a TCB in everything else in life.
Right.
I'm super excited about being your guest Thursday night. We are going
That'll
to
be a
share,
fun show.
even though you're such a household name in the CCTV world, I'm going to go ahead and share some of your last few episodes with our viewers, just to remind them how badass that you are, and thank you so much, both of you, for working with me, and also for your friendship that we've developed.
Yes.
We love you, brother. You have an open
Much
invite to
love to both of
everything
you.
all the time. We adore you, your family. My condolences, of course, to Atlanta, the entire Atlanta
Yeah,
community
thank
is
you so
going
much.
through.
You
Yeah,
Yes.
know, and the thing is, it's heartbreaking. And I want to turn this into a positive note, but I know we care so much for people. And we did a lot of work last year during Suicide Prevention Month and everything. And then a few times some people said, yeah, but let's just not do it just this month. And so we're reminded every once in a while to
yeah,
let people know, man, we're here for you. And we're all, like we say, we're all in this together, man. Any kind of weather, every kind of weather, and it's not easy, a lot of things, but these times and the beautiful times, you got to dwell on that, and they make up for all the other bad times, you know.
yeah. And I want to
Yeah.
share something that Peter Tork of the Monkees said to a fan. A fan wrote to Peter Tork and said, "I'm thinking about committing suicide." And Peter Tork took the time to write him back and said, "Don't give up before the miracle happens." And I want everyone to know that. Don't give up before the miracle happens. The second in my life, every time everything is at its absolute lowest point, for whatever reason, I notice the best stuff comes right after.
Oh,
So sometimes
totally.
you just have to wait it out, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. And you know, I just my heart breaks for folks who feel like, and I have felt like that before, like they're in this glass, box, and the water's coming up to here, and just know, man, there's some lifelines out there, and we'll make sure you continue breathing, and because
Doing our best.
yeah, man, and all of it, still there's still so much beauty for us to, and miracles for us to discover, like meeting you guys, man. That would have really, really been messed up if somebody didn't meet you guys a few years ago. Goodness gracious, man. Count my blessings.
Yep.
When I met you in Atlanta, I also met Sylvia Madrano Edelstein. She will be on It's Casual tomorrow.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
we've been
Everyone,
trying to get her on the
yeah.
show for a while, and she finally, her schedule released up enough where she could come on, and
Well,
she's got a
shout out
whole hour
to yeah,
tomorrow.
because
You
she's also
interviewed
might be the
Tom.
busy. She might be the busiest person in show business these days.
She's
Goodness.
busy. She's
Yeah,
very
and
busy.
and I met her. She asked to meet me, and asked me to give her some advice on performing and stuff. And recently, she's been posting these things and tagging me, saying, "Tom, I followed your advice, and it's really paying off." And that makes me feel so happy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's doing a lot of gigs now, which is great.
She's another hard worker, and she told me that 2 years ago. She said you got to do it every day, whether you're scared or not. You just keep doing it. She said that's what she did. She just sort of she
Yeah,
challenged herself to go live every single day, and
totally.
she believes in hard work. And of course, she has natural raw talent. But again, I'll remind every person with raw talent: if you don't put in the work, and if you're not consistent, it's not the same thing. You really have to have the hard work with the natural talent. And
One
she's
hundred,
she's
100%.
example of that.
Yeah.
We can talk
Yeah.
to her tomorrow, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm so excited to watch it. We'll be tuning in, and thank you, everyone. And yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Love is all around, and love doing the show. Love having wonderful guests like Rory and Renee. I've said it before. It's easy to be your friend, and it's easy to work with you. Nothing but a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Cheers, everyone. And we went over. We went over.
Yeah, 46 minutes.
Burn
Gotta
it
love
down,
that.
everybody.
Cheers, everybody. We'll see you guys soon.
Okay, bye, everybody.